Off the coast of Virginia, United States Navy assets logged something the Pentagon has never described in public before. Roughly 100 airborne objects at once, 2 vessels on the water that no one could identify, and a Navy report that went straight to the government office whose entire job is explaining this kind of thing. That case is now sitting inside a government report almost nobody has read closely, and it arrived in the same week the White House told former officials they are free to talk. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez, and this is your UFO News Update. Reporting from Fox News says President Trump directed the Department of War and the intelligence community to let former government employees and contractors come forward with UAP information. These people would meet with officials at the Alt Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, known as AARO, or with the President's UAP Task Force. That task force has a public name now, and it is called PURSUE, which stands for the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting Systems for UAP Encounters. That is the same task force that has been releasing all of these UFO files recently. A former official who once signed a non-disclosure agreement, which is a legal promise to stay silent, could sit down with cleared officials, and during that meeting, the agreement could be set aside so that they can all talk. A senior administration office was clear that it is not a declassification order, it only opens as a government channel. So anything shared still runs through the normal declassification review before the public ever sees it. The reason given is pretty straightforward here. Officials said some people who believed hold real information have been afraid to speak, afraid for their jobs, their clearances, and their careers. One official admitted the government doesn't actually know whether these witnesses hold anything of value. In their words, they do not know what they don't know. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida has pushed for whistleblower protection since about February of 2025, when she was named to lead the House Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets. In September of 2025, she held a hearing on UAP transparency and whistleblower protection, arguing that people with knowledge of UAP programs should be able to speak without retaliation. By mid-2026, she wanted more than just waived agreements. She said there was a list of people she wanted the White House to grant immunity so they could share what they know about claimed recovered non-human craft or biologics. Trump's directive answers only part of that. It lets former officials set aside their non-disclosure agreements and talk to cleared officials at AARO or PURSUE. But it is not amnesty and not immunity from prosecution, which was the piece Luna pressed for the hardest. AARO has been able to receive information protected by non-disclosure agreements for years. It was actually written into the fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Act, the yearly law that sets defense policies. AARO's own public reporting form states that a person may report to AARO without fear of violating a current or previous agreement. Researcher John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault raised a point about Trump's statement. Last year, he obtained 2 government memos through the Freedom of Information Act requests. One is a 2023 memo from the Pentagon Special Access Program Office. The other comes from the intelligence community's Controlled Access Office. Both say the same thing. A person who signed a non-disclosure agreement could already hand UAP information to AARO, and that counted as an authorized disclosure, not a violation. So that permission has existed since 2023. AARO's own new report even confirms it, stating that genuinely no restrictions, including non-disclosure agreements, stop AARO from receiving UAP information at any level of classification. If people were already free to talk, what does this directive add? The 2023 memos pointed to witnesses to AARO alone. Trump's order widens the path to the intelligence community and PURSUE and puts the president's name behind it. The NDA barrier people keep citing was removed years ago, and the harder problem is what happened to the people who did come forward. At the September 2025 hearing, Air Force veteran Dylan Borland told the panel he met with the AARO staff back in 2023, but the director at that time, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, wouldn't meet with him. Borland said AARO classified the information he shared and that he faced retaliation afterward. Jeffrey Nusatelli testified that without transparency, witnesses like them get dismissed by AARO, and it even ran through the 2023 hearing with Ryan Graves and David Grush, and AARO and Grush have contradicted each other ever since over whether he ever brought his claims to the office. So, the directive sends people back to the same office that several witnesses say ignored or even punished them the first time. If this directive changes anything, the people who walk through that door will most likely be names you and I have never heard of. The figures who go on podcasts and say they would talk if only they were able to, but because of their NDA they can't, they're probably not going to say anything. A person truly bound and truly silent doesn't announce it. So the meaningful witness here is not the familiar face that has been hinting about these things for years. It will be a retired contractor, the analyst who never wanted attention and never gave an interview. Really, I feel like this was meant more for those outside the current well-known group of people compared to those that we do know. But do you think this directive puts out anything new, any unknown witnesses, or does it just give the same voices a fresh headline? Now, we need to remember that the pressure behind this didn't come from nowhere. On June 9th, David Grush stood at a Capitol Hill press conference and renewed his claim that secret UAP programs operated outside proper oversight. He called it a real fraud, waste, and abuse issue, and described what he called slush funds worth billions of dollars a year. The Pentagon disputes his central claim, and AARO says it has not found any verified evidence of recovered or reverse-engineered craft of non-human origin. And then back in 2023, Marco Rubio, then vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, said multiple people with first-hand knowledge had approached the committee but were afraid to harm their careers or even themselves. So this directive might be the answer, at least on paper. If you are enjoying these updates, please take this moment to subscribe and hit that like button. Now on to the AARO report. The previous annual reports came out in November of 2024. This new one covers the year ending in May of 2013-2025. By late February of 2026, it had still not been published, referring to the AARO report, and critics were already calling it long overdue. It didn't actually come out till July 21st, more than a year after its own cutoff date. I wonder what that's about. Now, over that year, AARO received 319 UAP reports, and of those, 284 happened during that period of 2025, and 35 came from older events dating back to 2010. AARO received 114 of the 319 and closed another 256 old reports for 370 total resolved. AARO's full case file now holds 1,870 reports. Nearly all of the new ones were in the air. 44 were in space, and exactly 1 was in the water. And that one was the Virginia case that I opened with, roughly 100 airborne objects and likely 2 uncrewed surface craft. And AARO says it is still actively investigating that particular case. The report is pretty candid about its own blind spots. AARO said a lack of timely, usable sensor data continued to hold back its ability to solve cases. A new modeling tool lets analysts close 238 reports as satellites flaring, which is sunlight bouncing off a satellite and looking like a bright orb. Now, that is a real explanation for a real share of sightings, and it does deserve to be taken seriously. But there is a gap worth naming here, one that really frustrates me actually, because there is still nothing on the GREMLIN. GREMLIN is AARO's own sensor suit, a portable kit of radar infrared telescopes and radar frequency monitors built by the Georgia Tech Research Institute to detect and track UAP. AARO first revealed it in March of 2024, then said its November 2024 report that GREMLIN was deployed at an undisclosed national security site for a 90-day pattern of life collection. That 90-day window closed inside this reporting period, so the results should sit in this report. Instead, the word gremlin doesn't appear anywhere in the new report. The office that says it can't solve cases without better sensor data ran its purpose-built sensor for 3 months and hasn't said what it's found. AARO also said some reports near national security sites describe performances that exceeds the known state-of-the-art within their domain, meaning behavior beyond what current technology is understood to do. But it added a very hard limit. No technical data came with those reports. If those accounts were ever confirmed, AARO said they could represent a threat, and that is currently unaddressed. A few findings that didn't make the headlines, however, is that AARO received 50 reports of drones near U.S. nuclear sites, weapons, and launch locations. That is a jump of about 178% over the 18% the year before. None were logged as UAP, and most were small quadcopters, seen between 5 in the evening and 5 in the morning. AARO reported no health effects and no flight safety incidents this period, though 2 cases described electric interference near an aircraft that has not yet been ruled out. Now, add on the question people care about most, whether anyone has recovered this technology. Well, the report actually addresses this. It says no evidence suggests any government or private group has ever captured or exploited UAP materials, yet the same section AARO revealed is building a normal process to handle such materials should ever come into government hands. I find it very interesting that they're able to rule out private contractors when they can't even FOIA private contractors, let alone receive any kind of information by just asking them. So of everything unresolved, which case do you want most answered? The Virginia swarm, the hundreds of other unresolved UFO cases, or those drones circling over nuclear sites? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm Cristina Gomez. That is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 12 p.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.